This is an XRP supply on exchanges emergency report. Also, a QNT supply on exchanges emergency report. Shout out to our brother in space, Sebastian. First shown here, Binance down 600 million. Bitfinex down 6 million. Bybit down 100 million. Gate.io down 9 million. And now the shocker of the day, Upbit, 5 billion down. What else do we have? Well, as you see here, it comes literally from the exchange reserve report from Upbit, and you do see that radical downturn. What else do we have from our brother in space, Sebastian? He reports not that long ago, QNT and another top up via Coinbase Prime. This particular wallet now holds 25,000 tokens and no ETH. 25.2, I should say. Let's go ahead and blow this up. You see those wallets? Again, no ETH. Are they locking this up? Is fusion imminent? Jump into the next part that we have here from Sebastian. You see, of course, these particular amounts. It's all there, all verifiable. $2.5 million worth of QNT. On top of that, Sebastian points out this. Another wallet to top up. This particular one now holds 6.041k tokens and also is now part of the mix of no ETH. Why is this happening? What are they preparing for? That's the bottom line. As I take you to the next part of this, you can clearly see where the transfers and the swaps come into the mix. Again, what is happening? Next part we're going to jump into is the whole idea of this. Back to XRP. Take note. Gives a shout out to myself and obviously King Channing. Binance. Yes, Binance. The supply of XRP is nuking. You read that right. Nuking. A lot of talks about the whole thing, what's happening in the Middle East. Not trying to create a lot of division here, but nonetheless, XRP is nuking. About 600 million to be exact. Take a look at this. And as you see this on the other one, make it bigger on the screen. Big radical downturn. Wow, what is happening? Why is it happening? Is there something big about to happen when it comes to regulations and mandates? Well, whatever the case be, draw your own conclusion, because here's another couple things we're going to get into. QNT. Total exchange reserves have plummeted to a new low, while the spot has once again dipped below 2K. Stuff is unfolding in front of our eyes while hidden in plain sight. Think about that for a second. And as we see here, it's what is literally available in regard to the data. As shown here, the asset of QNT, exchange reserves, spot exchanges, myself and Channing have covered this quite a few times in the past in video format, but whatever the case be, you do see how this has been very interesting over the last couple years, as we have pointed out. On top of that, let's jump back to Sebastian on this other particular screenshot. You also see here, again, exchange reserves, QNT on all exchanges, and nonetheless, from 2023 to 2025, a big radical change. Why? That's the key thing. And more importantly, if you're not into quant, think about that maximum supply of roughly 14.5 million tokens. Supply shock, in my opinion, is absolutely imminent. Last part I want to jump into is this. QNT, new wallet, now holding 2.366 tokens, also fed by Coinbase Prime. Also, again, no ETH. Let's keep tabs on developments. We definitely will. Something is due to be announced sooner than later. Something is definitely brewing here, ladies and gentlemen. And as you see here, the portfolio and holdings by chain, again, common ground with all of the evidence pointing to something big happening. Why so much emphasis on Coinbase Prime? Well, it might have to do that they're the only regulated exchange that has that compliance, at least for the current time being. Is Coinbase strategically positioning themselves for something big? I think the answer is yes. So we're going to jump over to our panel discussion with more insights with myself and Jesse over Apex Crypto Consulting. Stay tuned. If managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to Decent Wallet. Just a few taps, you can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your Decent wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. Don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure. So again, this is from ChainStats Pro, and what you see here is very interesting. I decided to take this because I have the premium version. We see on the top left, this is QNT with US dollars. I decided to put on the 1 day to give you guys an example of exactly what's going on. And you see here on Chain with ChainStats Pro, Quant. Okay, so what is really going on? Well, from what I see here, it's reached kind of a tipping point. And basically speaking, we do see here that there's more of sells going on and more of that sell volume compared to how it was earlier today with buy volume and the amount of buyers. So worth pointing out, to say the least. Just to give you guys a heads up on what's going on in the 6 hour. Thought I'd go ahead and refresh this. And one thing I do like about, they've updated so many things about this. So like you have some of these things, and basically speaking, you do kind of see that we did have a lot of movement. So that's a 6 hour. We'll take a look at some of these other ones. Let's pull up the 1 hour. On the 1 hour, again, it's going to be a little bit different by the time you guys get the video. We do see that, man, you know, it's kind of like flatten out towards the end, right? But even on the bottom right, according to ChainStats Pro on Chain, in regard to what's going on with Coinbase, you do see it tipping more towards those sells. Now, just to give you guys an example, to show you that's not just Coinbase, right? Like, is KuCoin doing something about this? Here's the pairing with QNT with USDT. And of course, let's switch this over to the 1 day. On the 1 day, we do see that, again, not quite as crazy as what we saw with, obviously, Coinbase. Okay, now here's a 6 hour, just to give you a little bit of a reference on that. Again, on the 6 hour, we see right here, tips more towards those QNT buys. So again, very beneficial tool. It keeps you ahead of the game as far as what the exchanges are doing compared to just following an influencer and them referencing charts. Okay, so if this is something you're interested in, this is actual utility put into motion. This is a analytics tool built on the XRPL. It's called ChainStats Pro. You go to chainstats.pro. Okay, all right, let's now jump into the next part of why this is important. Sebastian, who again uses ChainStats Pro, pointed this out, and he pointed out basically the other day. It says QNT, Coinbase's QNT holdings dropped about 125,000 tokens. Now, say what you want with Quant, with a very limited supply of 14.88 million tokens. That's the max supply. That's significant. So this was down about 85,000 to basically what you see here, 72,000. I think you had a typo there, right? But whatever the case be, he takes a screenshot. We're going to zoom in a little bit about that. And basically, as you see, again, citation from Coinbase, say what you want. That's a dramatic stair step down, right? Especially on that 3 month. Okay, I think the last time we did this type of video was me and Shani bringing it to you guys. So what else do we have? Well, this time there's another particular update. Again, from Sebastian, he says huge amounts of QNT were moved via Coinbase Prime to individual wallets. We're talking about 32,000 tokens being moved to QNT only wallets with no ETH. Fusion imminent? I think the answer is yes. And let's get into it. I think this is big enough for you guys to see it. You do see here with the Coinbase Prime hot wallet, 32,000. That represents roughly, at the time, of course, of the value of QNT, about roughly 3.13 million. QNT. And again, you see all these other particular amounts. It is significant, to say the least. And of course, Uniswap on the bottom and so on. So why would they not have a pairing with ETH? I would agree with Grape. Shout out to Grape. At the end of the day, something is brewing. Yeah, that something that is brewing means that you are going to park this and it's not going to be moved. Call it a lockup if you want. It's not officially a lockup, but to a sense, it's a form of a lockup. Now, the thing I want to get also into is shout out to our brother in the space, Mine Crypto. We miss you, brother. Glad to see you back, at least on X. He says, QNT, yep, called it. Over 16,000 QNT just added to this private wallet. Multiples of 893 QNT. That is significant. And again, a pattern here, everybody. No ETH, no outflows, only holds QNT. So think about that. And think about why that's important. And again, we're going to blow this up. So again, Coinbase Prime wallets, all a strategic pattern, 893.753 on that QNT, and multiple ones that you see here. I mean, that's a big grocery list. I would kill for that, right? Not figuratively speaking, but you get what I'm saying. So again, interesting. Let's pull up the next particular one. Again, Coinbase Prime. And what do you also see here? You see, basically, they're doing something. They're absolutely doing something. Like Grape says, there is something brewing here. All right. So with that said, we're going to kick it over to our brother, Apex Crypto Consulting NFA. Jesse, I got to get your thoughts on some of this because, man, the way I look at Jesse, it's like, why no ETH pairing? I think the answer is obvious, but for our newcomers, I want to get some of your own 2 cents in regard to the matter.
Hey guys, thanks Max for having me. Always. Yeah, no, this is definitely utility, right? This is licensing lockups. I'm pretty sure it was Mine Crypto, might have been another guy too that proved, like, because it can't be anything else. We're seeing this pattern in the last year or two, and it's been just gaining momentum. First it was like 800 and 1,000 and 1,500 QNT, and then it's like average was like 2,000, 1,500, sometimes 3,000. It's been gaining momentum, especially the last maybe 6 to 12 months. The amount being sent to wallets from Coinbase which have like no Ethereum. If you don't have Ethereum in the wallet, you can't move it because there's no, you have to have the Ethereum for it to pay the gas fee, right? Very minimal, obviously, but so this has technically been proven that this is utility. This is a licensing lockup. Gilbert Verdian had said when he announced Quant over Ledger and their licensing and their treasury, how it all works, they said they were going to use exchanges for many of the things they do. And when the treasury needs to sell tokens, they're going to use exchanges to do that. And so this is licensed lockups, right? And 32,000, I think that's the biggest we've seen in one move, if I'm not sure. And you're always seeing this common pattern too. Like if they're sending, let's say 3,000 QNT, the Coinbase wallets are going to send like 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. It's dividing it, and it's always the same exact number. There's no Ethereum in the wallet, like I said, so they're not intending to sell it right away. So anyway, so this is licensing lockup. You see it ramping up, and it makes perfect sense. They're about to launch Fusion, right? This is the full decentralization of Quant over Ledger. Like this is technically the main launch, if you ask me, like we talked about on another video. And it just makes sense. It just lines up perfectly. They said they're going to launch Fusion this month, and again, it's just a full launch. The way I see Fusion is just a full launch of Quant. Like it's the full decentralization, hyper decentralization of Quant. Everybody can host gateways and so on and so forth. So, and they're launching it in June. He said in the month of June. We're already the 21st. So like there's like 9 days left, right? And then now we're seeing these huge transactions on Coinbase, following the same pattern that some of the top guys had identified as utility wallets, licensing wallets. So this is it. That's what I see. Personally, that's what I see. And the liquidity on the exchanges, like that's a 15% drop roughly. That's just a rough calculation there, from 882,000 to, sorry, was it 8? Anyways, it's a 15% drop in like what, a few days. So it's getting dry. I think it's getting dry. Hopefully the price will catch up to the fundamentals soon. It hurts. It doesn't really hurt if you know what you hold. Not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but I think usually, if I'm not mistaken, when the liquidity on the exchanges starts drying up, that's when you see the price move. because it can usually only go one way, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure that every time it's dried up, that's when we saw the big moves, because it all has to do with liquidity, right? If there's not much in the exchanges and people start buying, price got to go up, I think. But again, not financial advice. So yeah, I like it. I like it. Just drop it right to zero, honestly. Not the price, but the liquidity. The QNT in the exchanges, drop it right to zero. Maximum 10 QNT in the exchanges. That's it.
Well said. Glad to bring it to you guys. Obviously, you know the drill. If you listen to the entire outline, type in this key word into the comments. What is the word for everybody? Jesse.
Oh, low exchange. Let me see. Let me think here. Oh my goodness. Low exchange. Low QNT. No. You give it, Max. I'm not sure. I don't want low QNT because people are gonna think it's like a low price.
Oh dear Lord.
Yeah.
Now I'm on the hot seat. So okay, all right, hot seat, and we'll know that you listen
Sure.
to the entire outline.
Nice.
On behalf of myself and Jesse over at Apex Crypto Consulting NFA, know what you have, know why you hold it. The research trumps FUD 110%. We'll see you guys on the next one.
See you guys.